I thought it would be interesting to go back a generation. And there's Herman the German, my German great-grandfather. Unlike my grandfather Jack, who was fighting for king and country, here we have someone born on the other side of the fence.
Julian's always known about his father's German ancestry. Jack Clary married Victoria Tiedemann, the daughter of a German immigrant, Herman Tiedemann, and his English wife, Louisa Moles.
This is a photograph of Jack's wedding to Victoria. And quite a big do it looks like it was. And this is Louisa Moles. You wouldn't want to meet her on a dark night. A big-boned girl with a big jaw and a rather severe side parting. Oh well. She managed to get someone to marry her, and it was Herman the German, who doesn't appear in this picture. Now, this is Herman. He looks like some sort of comedy figure in a silent movie to me. He looks a bit bewildered and a bit frail.
The 1901 census gives more detail about Louisa and Herman's lives.
Here we are, Herman Tiedemann. He was then living in Cornwall Cottages at number 42 in Islington. Cornwall Cottages sounds charming. And he was head of the family, I'm glad to hear it. He was a foreman, baker, bread maker, and he's German, but he's now a British subject in brackets. He lived with his wife, Louisa, who was 29 and churning out children. I don't feel any great connection with this man, or with his big hefty wife either. Nice eyes, I suppose.
To discover whether Herman was interned, Julian's meeting Peter Toohey, an expert on Anglo-German family history.
For some reason, I've got to meet him at Alexandra Palace, which is a mystery. You wouldn't mind French blood, I wouldn't mind Nigerian ancestors, that would be all quite exotic. German. I suppose it's a prejudice born of the war. Perhaps by the end of the day I'll be proud to know that I'm part German. Yes.
Alexandra Palace in North London was opened in 1873 as an exhibition centre. But during the First World War, it served a more sinister purpose.
Why have you brought me to this palatial setting?
Right. It's of particular interest for people from the German community in England because it's where a large number of them were interned during the First World War. It's the first time it ever happened in English history that people were interned just for being born somewhere or being of a different nationality.
Was it like being in prison?
It was, very much so, yeah. They were allowed visitors, but they were in prison, effectively, yeah.
What would they have been allowed to bring with them?
Probably a couple of changes of clothes and so forth. There's actually some pictures here of them in this hall here with their belongings.
We've got a picture up there of their loved ones.
Yes, indeed. So they were able to bring some things with them. It wasn't like a concentration camp.
Over 32,000 civilian men were interned in camps all over Britain. Their wives and children were left to fend for themselves.
So Herman, do we know where he ended up?
No. Unfortunately, all the records of internment in this country were destroyed in bombing in the Second World War. It's a bit ironic, but they were in Covent Garden and an incendiary bomb landed on them. So all 3 or 4 million cards were destroyed. At
the beginning of yesterday, I was slightly disdainful about having German connections, and then by the end of the day I was slightly embarrassed to be British when you found out how the Germans were treated.